Hello, I'm Commissioner Emma Darnell, Fulton County District 6, and welcome to Mighty Six Conversations. As you know, Conversations is a monthly information and communication program focusing on the sustainable community. Today's topic is the Fulton County 2035 Comprehensive Plan. What's going on? Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back in a moment. Joining me in the conversation today is Shayla Reed, who is a planner in the Fulton County Department of Planning and Community Services. Mrs. Reed earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science and Master of Science degree in Urban and Regional Planning from Alabama A&M University in Normal, Alabama. Welcome back, Ms. Reed.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in to share with us. You were here earlier to let us know what the comprehensive planning process for the 2035 comprehensive plan was all about.
Yes.
And why we should care.
Yes.
And many people do because they understand that this is not something that we're doing that's discretionary.
That's
exactly.
Right. That's right.
This is important to us in terms of our relationships with our funding agencies.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell us a little more about that, in addition to the fact that we know it's just good to plan.
It is.
It's good to plan 5, 10, 20 years ahead, but we have another motivation too, though, don't we?
That's correct.
Yes.
This plan will be a 20-year focus. It will gear directly down into a 5-year focus where we are going to create a community work program to tell how we're going to implement this 20-year focus, but on a 5-year direct, minimized direction where we're going to spend more time there. This plan will be something that is mandated by the state. It is something that the state is saying that we are required to do so that residents will be able to have an insured livelihood.
Why do we have to send this to the state?
Well, the state wants to ensure that we're using funding properly. They want to ensure that we're providing services to our residents, providing livelihood, a continuous use of land. They're making sure that we're doing our job. And
they have a major community participation focus in this project too, don't they? You covered that for us the last time, but for the benefit of those who may not have heard about that, I tell them what a major component of the community participation piece is of this entire process.
Okay, so the community involvement is the plan itself. In my eyes, I believe that the public comes out to tell us what this plan should be. What we've done is we've far and exceeded what the state requires for 2 public hearings. We've done that. However, we've had community work programs. We've opened the door for email blasts. We've opened the door for social media, adding information on this great show here with the Mighty Six. We've added information on other TV shows, the CW69 Atlanta. So we've gone far and beyond.
And the response has been good, too.
It's been awesome. Residents have come out to these meetings. They've given us a great amount of information. To this day, I still receive emails and phone calls about the comprehensive plan. So unincorporated Fulton County residents are excited about this plan, and they're waiting to see the outcome of it. So
I think that's important, too, to point out, Ms. Reed, and that is the area, because many residents of District 6 do not live in the unincorporated area, and they may be wondering now why we didn't get a chance.
Right.
But if you live in Union City or Fairburn, College Park, those cities have their own planning process.
They have their own planning process, and they have their own comprehensive plan that they will be doing or have done already. We're just covering the area that's not within a city.
But of course, when we plan and when they plan, we have to take into account.
Yes. So what happens
is... That coordination is important, isn't it?
It's very. So when communities are drafting plans, each community is receiving their plans to review it.
That's good. You actually receive their plans.
We are currently receiving plans from our other municipalities that are surrounding us, and once our plan is submitted out to the state, they'll receive copies as well.
Well, that is so very, very important, because one of the things that we know in local government, and that is the days when we had our own little fiefdom and our own little silos over here, and we could go in and close the door. Those days are gone.
No, ma'am.
We have to have intergovernmental cooperation, don't we?
It's open and on the table. It's where we have to express what we're doing. Residents have to agree to what we're doing, and then it's adopted by our board. The state, of course, will be throughout that entire process ensuring that it's meeting state regulations before it's even adopted.
And you also told us, Ms. Reed, the last time that even what we develop begins with the input from the community.
Of course, yeah.
In other words, that there's really not a process where we go in our offices and pull out our books and then we write something and take it to the community.
Right.
We develop our plans, of course, with the technical data that
That's
we
right.
have
That's right.
by population and all the demographics. But our plan actually comes from the community.
That's true. I love to say that the residents wrote the plan because that's
a good way of putting it.
Because technically they're the authors.
Yes.
We're the editors more
Yes,
so.
you made that clear last time.
Our residents come out, they tell us what they desire to have. Staff then figures out how to place that and where to place that in the plan. So I can truly say that the 2035 Fulton County Plan does have at least 95% of what the residents are asking for.
I noticed that, and I was very, very pleased with the outcomes of your public participation events. Because the bottom line is how many people participated.
Right.
You know, public relations is good, and so is marketing.
That's right.
But in this business, it's the numbers.
That's correct.
How many responded, and as you've indicated, residents of District 6 are extremely interested in the comprehensive planning process, not just a small group, but by and large. What are the areas? There are 4 or 5 areas that we covered in the comprehensive plan, which all of us cover. I guess they're set by the state.
Yes, ma'am.
We know land use is one, but it's not the only one.
So we cover land use, population, housing, transportation, environmental, and community services and facilities. So we cover, it's best for me to explain that the state says that if you have certain elements or certain features in your communities, then you should have these inputs into the plan. We only were required to have 3. But however, we wanted to speak further. We didn't want to stop at 3. We wanted to tell our full story.
And I'm very pleased that we did. When we come back after the break, we're going to talk about some of those areas because it's going to be very, very important. I think that folks know what the real meat is.
Yes, ma'am.
We've kind of laid out the structure and the bones, but I think those who might have not had an opportunity to participate in the process, they'll be interested to know some of the final outcomes of what we developed. We'll be back in a moment for part 2 of our conversation with Ms. Sheila Reed from the Planning Department regarding the Comprehensive Plan, 2035 Plan. Ms. Reed, you were telling us that the comprehensive plan, which will be submitted to ARC and to DCA and to the state, then it'll come back to us, to the Board of Commissioners, and we'll vote in October formally to adopt it. Now, do I assume, just to complete the process, that ARC and DCA, the state, may have some recommendations? Or
they may recommend.
What has happened in the past on that?
What happens is once the plan is submitted out for review, the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs will both review the plan. They will provide comments back to us, and they have a 30-day requirement to provide the comments back to us from the day they submit it, or receive it, shall I say. Once they receive it, they provide the comments back to staff. Staff makes the changes, and then we'll send that information over to you to allow for you to then send it back. And then once we send it back to DCA, once they give us the go, they'll send a letter saying that it's ready for adoption. And we'll do that before your the last October meeting. All
right. Now that we know what the process is, would you just comment, Ms. Reed, on some of the findings and recommendations, the work plan generally, some areas of it that public probably, they're going to be interested in all of it, and we're going to let them know how they can see the entire plan. Right. Because it is on the agenda, and of course, it's public.
Yes, ma'am.
And so they'll have an opportunity to look at it in detail, but just some of the highlights that you think would be helpful.
So we were excited to find that the population has grown since the last plan back in 2011.
Right through the recession.
Yes, it did. It was
It
exciting
grew
to
right
see that.
through the recession.
Residents were still moving into the community, still
Yes.
finding a place to call home here in unincorporated Fulton County.
We're talking about unincorporated.
Yes, ma'am. So they
South unincorporated. Yes.
They came into the area and population grew. But the most exciting part about that is we're showing that growth will continue for the next 20 years for that
Yes,
area.
yeah, I noticed that. And even the regional forecast.
So
It's Fulton and Gwinnett.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that people are still calling this home and growing regardless on
That's
the
important,
recession and
isn't
so
it?
forth. Right, because the recession did kind of shift some
Oh, it
populations.
did.
But for us,
It shook us greatly.
Yeah, but we're still seeing the growth. So that's exciting.
It's exciting.
And
Yes.
then the housing permit counts. Shockingly,
Building
my gosh.
permits through the roof.
Yes, so the development was still happening. And so what we're
Yes.
saying that because we're seeing the population to grow, we're seeing the housing permits growth.
Yes.
We're seeing that we're able to sustain and able to make room for those residents who are coming into the community based on the housing counts. And
Yes.
because of that housing count increase that we're seeing, we're needing to enhance our transportation measures.
It has implications, doesn't it?
We're going
We want growth,
That's right.
but we want sustainable
That's right.
growth.
Smart, sustainable. We
Smart,
have to,
sustainable growth.
We have to
Yes.
spend time understanding where these areas are growing, what funding is needed to maintain these areas in regards to
Yes.
transportation and so forth, and provide, I guess, a comfort for the growth. Because the good thing is our growth is not something that's happening drastically. It's
Yes.
giving us time. If you see, the growth is a gradual growth.
Yes.
So we have enough time to make plans for these areas. So we're excited about that.
And I guess the comprehensive plan, those other sections pretty much respond to those demographic facts. Is that correct?
That is correct. The comprehensive plan is showing that each element is complementing each other. You know, as I say, the population the population is complementing the housing growth. The housing growth is showing that transportation is needing some inputs or increases as the population will grow. And then it will go into their community facilities because transportation is growing and housing is growing and population is growing. Your facilities are needing growth as well for your sewer systems, whether it be public safety is needing some growth as well, because the more people that are coming, we're needing to increase some services for those individuals.
And the impact on roads,
Yes, ma'am.
impact on infrastructure.
Because we recently, or we're currently, which is even more exciting, the T-SPLOS is current. As we speak, they're out there with those T-SPLOS dollars ensuring that these roads are being enhanced.
If it passes.
Yeah.
If it passes, it'll be up to the voters.
Okay.
But certainly the T-SPOS plan contemplates the kinds of really just improvements.
Right.
But transportation planning is very much a key element of this 2035 comprehensive plan, isn't it?
It is. It is. Because we're seeing that the transportation, I mean, everyone uses it. Think about it. Whether you're walking, driving, or biking, everyone's using some form of transportation. We are a very movable area, you know, unincorporated / Atlanta Metro. We're all moving pieces. And transportation is needed to ensure that we're getting to and from, whether it be to work, school, getting our families to and from entertainment sources and so forth. So transportation is a needed element. So we must spend a lot of time focusing on that.
I noticed, too, when you mentioned the region, that one of the challenges that we have is this is a commuter,
Oh, yes.
the commuter region, and we've struggled with air quality because there's so much reliance upon cars. And I noticed in the plan that you've indicated that there is a connectivity between transportation and housing.
Correct.
In the sense that, as you indicated earlier, as the housing grows, then of course we have to look at transportation options, don't we?
We do. So the exciting thing is we're partnering in this plan with MARTA. Okay.
Good.
So we're trying to, it's funny you mentioned congestion. We're trying to lessen a lot of cars off of the roads and spend more time figuring how we can make it so that everyone can kind of ride together, so forth, on ridership. So we're working with MARTA. They're going to actually expand some of their ridership options in South Fulton so that we can have an opportunity to pull some of these cars off of the road to increase our opportunities